ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः। देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Yeah, we can chant from 5 onwards. Antakale cha mameva
Antakale cha mameva
Smaran muktva kalevaram
Smaran muktva kalevaram
Yah prayati samadbhavam
Yah prayati samadbhavam
Yati nastyatra samshayah
Yati nastyatra samshayah
Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam
Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam
Yajatyante kalevaram
Yajatyante kalevaram
Tam tamevaiti kaunteya
Tam tamevaiti kaunteya
Sada tadbhava bhavitaha
Sada tadbhava bhavitaha
Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu
Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu
Mamanusmara yudhya cha
Mamanusmara yudhya cha
Mayyarpita mano buddhihi
Mayyarpita mano buddhihi
Mame vaishyasya samshayam
Mame vaishyasya samshayam
Abhyasa yoga yuktena
Abhyasa yoga yuktena
Chetasa nanyagamina
Chetasa nanyagamina
Paramam purusham divyam
Paramam purusham divyam
Yati parthanu chintayan
Yati parthanu chintayan
Kavim purana manushasitaram
Kavim purana manushasitaram
Anoraniyam samanusmaredyaha
Anoraniyam samanusmaredyaha
Sarvasya dhataramachintya rupam.
Sarvasya dhataramachintya rupam.
Aditya varnam tamasah parastat.
Aditya varnam tamasah parastat.
Prayana kale manasa chalena.
Prayana kale manasa chalena.
Bhaktya yukto yoga balena chaiva.
Bhaktya yukto yoga balena chaiva.
Dhruvor madhye pranamaveshya samyak.
Bhruvor madhye pranamaveshya samyak.
Tatam param purushamupaiti divyam.
Satam param purushamupaiti divyam.
Prayana kale manasa chalena.
Prayana kale manasa chalena.
Bhaktya yukto yoga balena chaiva.
Bhaktya yukto yoga balena chaiva.
Dhruvor madhye pranamaveshya samyak.
Bhruvor madhye pranamaveshya samyak.
Tatam param purushamupaiti divyam.
Satam param purushamupaiti divyam.
Yeah.
Dhanyawad.
So those who have not told me about turning off their video feeds, you may you may turn it on, keep it on. So what happens is, I don't know if you're noticing it. So 2 people turn off their videos, then 5 people, then 10 people, then 15 people turn off videos. And I have nobody to look at. So this is why I tell you, if you want to turn off your video, you need to ask me.
What is the reason they turn off? What is the reason they turn it off?
Right. So we are in chapter number 8, and last time shloka number 8 we covered, okay, and that is how that person who is a nishkama bhakta, that person visualizes Bhagavan, visualizes God as Kavi, Puranam, Anushasitaram, etc. We saw all that. Okay, Aditya Varnam, Tamasah Parastat. Okay, that is the way to appreciate Bhagavan. And also Ishtadevata, Nishkama, but Ishtadevata is fine because you can't visualize Brahma. Brahma is not possible to visualize. And therefore, you have to have some attributes to visualize. So Ishtadevata, so Devi Ishtadevata, or Rama, Krishna, whatever, Ganapati, everything can be visualized. Even Hanuman can be visualized. Even Hanuman, I say. Why I said even, I don't know. But Hanuman is the greatest bhakta. And so, even though he is at the feet of Rama, he is no less than Rama. Okay. So therefore, for us, anybody is good for us. Okay. So, 10th shloka here. Prayana kale manasa chalena. Saha tam purusham upaiti dityam. Okay. So again, how this person, how can this person remember Bhagavan, recall Bhagavan, think of Bhagavan at the last days of one's life? Okay, that's the idea here. In what way? What attributes are needed for this person? Okay, so manasa achalena bhaktya yuttaha yoga balena, etc. He says, and then bhruvor madhya. Interesting shloka here. Okay. So Prayana Kale was already introduced by Krishna himself. When did he introduce Prayana Kale? He introduced in the last shloka of the 7th chapter. Correct? Remember, this chapter starts with Arjuna's questions based on Krishna's introduction of those words Brahma Ityadi in the 7th chapter. Therefore, last line, Prayana Kale Pichamam Te Vidur Yukta Chetasaha, he said. So that Prayana Kale keeps coming here. Okay. And So talking about this person. So it's a meditation. It's a contemplation where Bhagavan Krishna is saying, Bruvor Madhye Pranam Aveshya Samyak. So there is a yogic practice here given, which is not Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga. Okay, Bruvor Madhye. So it says Pranam Aveshya Samyak. So this person has learned the Ashtanga Yoga. So Yama Niyamadi is all pakka. And then this Pranayamaha, Ayamaha, taken to the full point, where Pranayama is what? Pranayama is Pranasya Ayamaha, the control of one's breath. Okay. And so by controlling one's breath, then slowly the person learns to control various parts, various functions of the body, various energy centers of the body. Prana is one energy. So once you breathe, oh, I can't breathe anymore. I have to release. Oh, now I have to release. So you can begin to see the prana, the center. Then you begin to see where all it manifests, which parts of the body. So this Bruvor Madhya Pranam Aveshya. So that prana Aveshya, bringing the prana through the heart. Pashikara says through the heart. So focusing all the pranas on the heart in one central part. And then Bruvaha. Bruvaha is this between the two eyebrows, center of the forehead, let's say. And Brudesha. This is called Brudesha. And then behind the Brudesha, there is something called Sushumna Nadi. Sushumna Nadi. So it goes, it's a vertical Nadi, energy pipeline, if you want to use an English word. A direction in which the energy flows. If energy flows down, then that's negative. That makes the body goes towards grosser and grosser things. But taking the energy up, that's so Nadi and Chakra, all these things, Dhyanam, they teach all these things. Okay. And then that Nadi is there behind the Brudesha. And Bruvor Madhye Pranam Aveshya. Pranam Aveshya. That prana is concentrated through the heart, it goes into this Sushumna Nadi. And then further, Brahmarandra, etc. There are some things. So Brahmarandra is the hole through which the energy goes out. This is the Nadi, signs of Nadi. That science he is bringing here. Bruvor Madhye Pranam Aveshya Samyak. And Kathopanishad also, there is one mantra devoted to that. Shatam Chaika, like that. Yama tells Nachiketa, Shatam Chaika cha hridayasya nadyaha tasam murdhanam abhinisritaika. If you want to look up, it is Kathopanishad 2.3.16, 2.3.16. These days, all you have to do is go to Google. Kathopanishad 2.3.16. Over. Entire whole 5,000 history of India is all there in front of you. And you can, any link you can go. And then sometimes I do that. If I quickly want to know mantra, I'll just do that. Upanishads.org.in comes, and then that's exactly what I want also. So there, this Nadhya, etc. That's just that one mantra. And and Shukla Gati, Krishna is going to talk about the Shukla Gati also. Shortly he's going to say in the 23rd shloka it will come. So all these are related. Shukla Gati. Shukla Gati means a person who is going to go to Brahmaloka. That is what the Shastram says. So because that person has, he's a Vitaragaha, he's going to say that shortly. Person has come out of all Ragadveshas. Ragadveshas are no longer a problem for this person. Prasada Buddhi is complete. And so that is that kind of person. Therefore, that person is going to go to this Brahmaloka, and that is called Krama Muktihi or Shukla Gatihi. I think we made a note of these things. Okay. So how is this person going to do this meditation? This particular meditation of Bhagavan. Okay. Then he says, Yoga Balena Chaiva. Yoga Balena. Let's put it that. Yoga Balena. So obviously this requires immense practice, immense control, and this requires a lot of practice. Simply saying raga, dvesha, etc. not enough, because there is a technique being talked about. And but the person who is free from raga, dvesha can choose to practice this particular contemplation. Only then, and the last days also, that person can be able to practice. So withdraw. That is why often they say, when I talk to sannyasis, they say he chose to take samadhi. Amazing it is. Means they chose to die, quote unquote die. And I'm leaving now. And they say, and then they decide to withdraw the prana. Not die by taking poison. Okay, that's a different kind of death. But this is death by choosing to stop the prana. That's amazing it is. That's amazing. That requires obviously a different type of practice. Okay. And so you see people who have these kinds of capacities. Basically, an involuntary body function like breathing is made voluntary. Is it not? Breathing is involuntary for us. It just goes on and on, unless we choose to pay attention to it. Then you choose to pay attention, attention. Then after a while, only by choosing to pay attention, it works. And so that's called pranayama, really speaking. Pranayama is you're aware of your breathing and you are deciding how long is the kumbhaka, rechaka, etc. Okay. So all that you decide. So that is pranayama. So even heartbeat, one can train oneself to do heartbeat. That's the science. That's what they've been practicing. All these siddhas and all, they can do these things. So that is what is being talked about here. And now, suppose, now don't ask me if you know all these things. Okay, did they teach all this in the Adhyaya Gurukulam, etc.? Now you are welcome to ask me. Generally, I won't get upset by people asking me questions. Okay, now I have asked the questions, I'll answer that question also. So, see, I did not learn. Neither did my Swamiji teach me. Okay, so they don't teach all these things in our Adhyaya Gurukulam. Why they didn't teach me also I know. Because they are talking to me, teaching me about Tattvam, Atma Tattvam, Brahma Tattvam, ignorance that is stopping me from freeing myself. That ignorance can only go by knowledge of Atma. So that is all Adhyaya Gurukulam was about, is about. That is what even I am about today. And so therefore they're not going to say you can go to Brahmaloka. Postpone moksha now, because next Janma I will teach you how to go to Brahmaloka. This is a slap on the face of all our Swamis. Next Janma, what do you mean next Janma you're talking about? So, but this is our next Janma. So therefore, this is not of interest to those who are after Brahma Vidya. Vidya guides us. This is also one type of Vidya, Nadi Vidya. This is Nadi Vidya. You can give a name, Nadi Vidya, etc. But Nadi Vidya does not give Jivan Mukti. Okay. So therefore, early on, Krishna said, okay, somebody misses the boat, somebody isn't clear, then Swami Paramarthananda ji said, then the punishment is you have to stand upside down and do pranayama all day. That is the punishment. And our teachers used to give punishment, they used to hold our hands and knuckles and all that they used to do. Some teachers used to give all kinds of punishment. I don't know how we took all that. And then they used to take the ruler and then beat the knuckle and all that. Oh, and then bend. They used to do all kinds of things. And so that's a punishment. So we are not. So this is also important. This Nadi science is very important. People can do it. This is doable. It's learnable. In fact, there are some people, I think, Narayan and Meera, Vijay and all, they are all smiling and all, but don't take them, they know a lot, okay? They are standing on their head and they are doing all kinds of stuff. So they are talking, how are you, Guruji and all, they say, but they know a lot, okay? So if you want this, you have to talk to them. Okay? We have some good team members here, okay? So, okay, after this, what? This is Yoga Balena. Yoga balena. Then manasa chalena. The way to put it is achalena manasa. Manasa is the main word. By the mind. By the mind. And what kind of mind? Achalena manasa. Both are tritiya. Achalena manasa. And by a mind that is steady, that is calm, that will do what it is told to do, that will focus on whatever it's supposed to focus on. Okay. And so this undistracted mind. So when I say undistracted mind, we should go recently or 2 or 3 shlokas ago, we saw that. Where did we see? 8.8. Okay. Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa nanyagamina. Chetasa is manasa. Nanyagamina. What did we say nanyagamina was? Na anyagami. Gami means one who goes. Anyagami, one who goes elsewhere. Elsewhere means what? Where you are not supposed to go. That's all. Anyagami. And then so the mind that does not go elsewhere, it seems. What a way it is. The way to describe this undistracted mind. So same thing here also. Achalena manasa. Achalena. See, manas is never achala. Okay. Achala means unmoving. Manas' job is to move. But if I say no, you chant this. Om Krishna Yanamaha. Om Krishna Namaha. So I keep doing that. I tell the mind, okay, you have to do this. You have to do this. So that's a way to practice. The mind gets used to that. Okay, I must stick to a particular job. That's why japa is very useful, very important. And so when I'm doing my daily routines and my mind is wandering, then I will immediately recognize, okay, my mind is wandering. What happened? Calm down. I can tell myself, calm down. This is not. Calm down and then do your job like that. So that kind of achalena manasa, okay, and also in Patanjali Maharshi, what did he say about yoga? Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. So that's what is being talked about. Chitta vritti nirodha. Nirodha, mastery of. Stopping of unnecessary things. And then chitta vritti, mano vritti. Vritti means a thought modification. Vritti. Anything that happens in the mind is a vritti. And chitta vritti nirodha. So they talk about cessation of thoughts. You can remove thoughts also. If the mind is calm, your mind will be free of thoughts also. That's very easy. You can practice it. Once you do meditation and all that, then you slowly get used to it. Then you don't need guided meditation anymore. You can meditate yourself. And then thoughtless mind. Thoughtlessness can be there. It's not difficult at all once you do this. Okay. So yahan par manasa achalena manasa, calm with a calm mind, and yoga balena. And then one more. There's more. Bhaktya yukta. Bhaktya yukta. Okay. So that seems obvious. Bhakti. Because this person says that there is nothing other than God for me. Bhagavan, Parameshwara, that's it. This is very obvious to me, like that he says. And so that person, Bhaktya Yuktaha, elsewhere Bhagavan Krishna will say, Ananya Bhaktya Yuktaha, Ananya Bhaktya. Look at what a word Ananya is. Okay? And our Madhumati's daughter's name is Ananya. And so Ananya means what? Not other. Anya means other. Ananya means not other. Not other means what? Not other than you. I am not other than you. You think I am other than you? Think again. I am Ananya. Okay. That's what it is. Okay. So beautiful. And Bhaktya Yuktaha. And so Ishvara Prapatti. Prapatti. The word Prapatti is important. Vaishnavas use this word a lot. Prapatti is a very important word for that. Prapatti means complete surrender. Okay, very important word. And Krishna mentioned it in 7th chapter. Look at it, 19. Bahunam janmanam ante. Jnanavan mam prapadyate. That prapadyate, he uses that word. So that is important word. And likewise in 20 also. Kamais taistair hritagnyanaha prapadyante anya devata. There he talking about the one who is worshipping devata, who give material, kama and artha, those devataha, prapadyante, he says, same, that prapatti. So that ananya bhakti he must be there. Ananya bhaktya yuktaha. That person who now knows, not that kind of prapatti where I surrender to you so that you may take me to your world, not that kind of bhakti. Hey, you are everything in this world. You are the world, in fact. And therefore, I can't be different than you. That kind of bhakti. Okay. And this bhakti, I tell you, when you teach this to children, puja, how to do puja to children, I mention it all the time. Whenever I teach puja, whenever I've taught before. And so that soham bhavena puja. Hey, when you do puja, you are not doing puja to somebody else, really speaking. Bhagavan is saying, I am not different from you. Soham bhavena puja upfront. This is just too amazing. And then, hey, you're doing puja. Yeah, you think God is out there. You think God is sitting in front of you. But finally, you will understand that God and you are not different. So do the puja with that attitude. Okay. Kids love all these things. And so, then what is the use of all this? What is the phalam? Satam param purusham upaiti divyam. Satam param purusham upaiti divyam. And the minute this thing is there, see, first of all, prayana kale, we did not translate it, but prayana kale, at the end of one's life, and then that saha tam upaiti. Upaiti gains. Who gains? Saha, that nishkama upasakaha, one who is practicing all these things, this one who has already practiced and ready. So for that person, you don't have to tell that person, hey, your last days have come and you have to practice. No, that person, no, you don't have to be told. And so that person, okay. What about this Paramam Purusham Divyam and all? If you see, you should have scratched your head and said, you would have come to Shloka number. You will come to Shloka number what? Correct. Shloka number 8. Correct. Shloka number 8. So Abhyasa Yoga Yuktene Chetasa Anyagamina and Paramam Purusham Divyam Yati. Okay, there he said that. And here he is saying Satam Param Purusham. He's not saying Paramam, he's saying Param. Both mean the same thing. So, and then Divyam. Same words he's using here also. So that person gains that Purusham. So we have to do Anu. Anusmaranam we have to do now, right? Anu. We have to recall Anu. And then say, hey, what is Purusha? Pura Ushati iti Purushaha. That which indwells the person is called a Purusha. That Atma which indwells the person, that makes this person a Jiva, that is called Purushaha. And then another meaning for Purusha is what? Sarvam Purayati iti Purushaha. That which fills up everything is Purushaha. So that Atma which is Brahma is Purushaha. Okay. Satam Purusham. So this is the Anu. And then Anu of Paramam. Paramam, limitless, all pervasive. Okay. That which has no boundary. That is Paramam. Sometimes it's translated as supreme. Look at that. Look at the difference between supreme and limitless. Those two words. For me, it makes a big difference. Supreme, if somebody says, I have to imagine something high up. I have to imagine something much greater than me, etc. This is how supreme is. I am not supreme. Obviously, I know I'm not supreme because I'm studying Bhagavad Gita. I can't be supreme. There are people who know a lot. And so I can't be supreme. That much I know. So supreme means what? It means, oh, I have to go to that high level. You know, I'm at a very low level right now. Very low level, Swamiji. I just know a little bit, few shlokas only, and know. I want to go to that high level. And then, so this high level and all, we have to give up. And so Paramam and Bhashikara helps us. Desha Kala Vastu Paricheda Shunyam. Shunyam. Shunyam is what? Absence of. Okay. Absence of what? Desha Kala Vastu Parichedam. There are three things that are limiting any object. The minute you say object, the three things. What is it? Desha Parichinnam. It is limited by space. The object is here, it's not there. It is here if you say, the cup is here if you say, then cup is here, cup is not there, not there, not there, not there, not there, not there. So, Desha Parichinnam means spatially limited. Then Kala Parichinnam means what? Time-wise limited. The cup was not there some time ago, then it is there now. After some time, it won't be there. And it's already changing rapidly. Still, it won't be there in this current form. Okay. So Kala Parichinnam, time-wise limited. And then what? Vastu Parichinnam. Vastu Parichinnam means what? Tumbler is there. Then tumbler is not apple. Tumbler is not clock. Tumbler is not home. Tumbler is not tree. Tumbler is not tumbling. Tumbler is not gymnastics. So how much you can say? So that is not just that vastu only. It is only that object, not any other object. So that by virtue of being an object, it is limited. So they call it vastu parichinnaha. So that shunyam I said. So shunyam, absence of these three limitations is called paramam. Correct? And supreme, paramam. Where is the question of talking about supreme here? Limitless. This is the way to understand it. Understand paramam. Then divyam, that also we saw. Dhyotanatmakam, Shankaracharya says. He reminds us. See, we are supposed to know Sanskrit. Divdhatu and all, we are Dhyotanatmakam and all, we should know. But he reminds us. Compassionate, that's all compassion. Dhyotanatmakam, like that it says. So, self-effulgent, Swaprakashatmakam. And what is that? Where can I see it? You don't have to see it. You are that. Divyam, because consciousness is that. Always there. Even in sleep, consciousness is awake, so to speak. That is why I can say, I slept well. Okay. I slept well. I slept well means what? Then who is the I then? Are you awake or are you asleep now? Are you, when you say that statement, are you awake or asleep? No, I'm awake. Okay, good. So that I, the content of this body, this jiva, that atma is divyam. Okay. So purusham paramam divyam upaiti. Okay. Upaiti, gains. Kramamuktim prapnoti. Like that we can say. So did we cover all the words? Prayanakale manasachalena bhaktya yukto yoga balena chaiva bhruvor madhye pranam aveshya having making pranam enter. Very interesting. Making pranam enter the heart and then through and from the heart to the sushumna nadi. Samyak, that word samyak we didn't see. Samyak generally means properly. Properly. Well, samyak means well, good, in a good way. And Shankaracharya also helps us here. He says, apramattaha san. He uses the word. Apramattaha. Pramattaha means careless. Careless. Apramattaha means carefully, consciously, being vigilant, being attentive, and not, you're doing an important thing, and so stay focused on that. That samyak. And then saha tam param purusham upaiti divyam. Okay, let's translate this. At the time of death, comma, with a steady mind, comma, endowed with devotion and endowed with devotion and the strength gathered by yoga, within quotes, and the strength gathered by yoga, comma, indeed, comma, placing the breath properly, between the eyebrows, placing the breath properly between the brows, comma, she reaches that limitless, effulgent and all-pervasive, person, full stop. At the time of death, comma, with a steady mind, comma, endowed with devotion and the strength gathered by yoga, comma, indeed placing the breath properly between the brows, comma, she reaches that limitless, effulgent and all-pervasive person. Full stop. Or all-pervasive Paramatma. That also you can say, whatever. Key is, how do we understand that? Okay. Let's chant the next one. 11th shloka. Yad, yeah, Maheshji.
Which word is effulgent?
Effulgent, Divyam,
Okay.
Jyotanatmakam, self-shining. Yeah. Yeah, Lakshmi ji.
Guruji, you said one more word for Shuklagati, Krama something. I couldn't get that.
Krama Mukti.
Krama Bhukti.
Mukti. Krama Mukti.
Mukti.
See, Jivan Mukti is Mukti here in this life. Krama Mukti is not in this life, but in the next life. When the person goes to Brahmaloka. Krama, there's an order. In order, that is the meaning. Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti. Maheshji. Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti.
Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti.
Vishanti Yadyatayo Vitaragaha.
Vishanti Yadyatayo Vitaragaha.
Yadichanto Brahmacharyam Charanti.
Yadichando Brahmacharyam Charanti.
Tatte Padam Sangrahena Pravakshye.
Tatte Padam Sangrahena Pravakshye.
Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti.
Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti.
Vishanti Yadyatayo Vitaragaha.
Vishanti Yadyatayo Vitaragaha.
Yadichanto Brahmacharyam Charanti.
Idichanto Brahmacharyam Charanti.
Tatte Padam Sangrahena Pravakshye.
Tatte Padam Sangrahena Pravakshye.
Yeah. But we also know Maheshji has the samskara of being in Kerala. How do we know that? How many of you figured it out? Yeah, Araprasadji, many people figured it out. How? Because there is one word, Vishanti. He said Vishandi. I heard at least once Vishandi. So that comes only from Kerala. So we are a cultural mix. And so, but not that they don't know how to pronounce ta, because all other tatte and all they pronounce properly. Tatte. They didn't say dadde, he didn't say. He said tatte only. So we can make out. So anyway, this is an important mantra. Okay, shloka, mula mantra. So Akshara, we've seen that. We've seen it. When did we see Aksharam? When did we see? You can unmute yourself.
Aksharam Brahma Paramam.
Aksharam Brahma.
Paramam Brahma.
Correct. Aksharam Brahma Param. So when Krishna was answering Arjuna's question, Aksharam word was introduced. And so there we also quoted that shloka from Mundaka Upanishad, when the Mundaka Upanishad was defining Paravidya. Dve vidya veditavya. Two types of knowledges are there, and apara and para. So there he says, Atha para yaya tadaksharam adhigamyate, like that. Mundaka Upanishad says. And so, and like that, you also have Yajnavalkya telling Gargi, hey Gargi, either you know or you don't know. These are two things. This is what Yajnavalkya is telling Gargi. No, and then that knowing he talks about Atha Yova Yetadaksharam Gargi Viditva Asma Lokat Preti Sa Brahmana. So Yova, the Yetadaksharam. This Aksharam, one who leaves this world after knowing, that person is called a Brahmanaha. There are two types of people, he says, Brahmanaha, and what is the other type of person? Adhyaya Yetadaksharam Aviditva Asma Lokat Preti. Leaves this world without knowing this Brahma that has to be known. That person, he doesn't say Abrahmana, he says Kripanaha. Correct? Kripanaha. Kripanaha had a great mind. This human being only has the mind that can talk like this and hear about these things, think about these things, but he did not use that wealth. And so Kripanaha, like that it was said. And so that absolute reality, that permanent reality, that Satyam. Okay, all that now we know. We can, when we use these words, you can connect that which is the only source of security and happiness. And that because of which I can say I am happy. Even though if I tasted Rasagulla and I say Rasagulla is so good, I may have said that. But that Rasagulla goodness comes from Atma only. And Rasagulla was a trigger for that. It's a trigger to discover that Ananda. And so that imperishable, Aksharam is what? Imperishable. And imperishable. Avyayam. Sometimes we use the word Avyayam for that which does not decline. In Sanskrit, I'm sure Sanskrit students know Adhyaya very well. Correct? Adhyaya. So Katham, we say Katham, how? Adhyayam, Va, Yova, Etadaksharam. So all these particles are all called Adhyayam in Sanskrit. Adhyayam because it does not decline. It cannot have Prathama Vibhakti, Dvitiya Vibhakti, etc. Or put differently, all the Vibhaktis are identical for those words. So Adhyayam. They say translate also like that, indeclinable, they say. And so very interesting. So okay, so Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti. Vadanti speak, talk about. They talk about. Who talk about? Veda Vido Vadanti. Veda Vidaha Vadanti. That is the way to write it down. Okay, Veda Vidaha. What is Veda Vidaha? Veda Vit is the noun there, and Vedavit is singular. Veda Vidau. Vedavit means knower of the Veda. Knower of the Veda. Vedavit. And so Vedavit, Veda Vidau, Veda Vidaha. So knowers of Vedas, knowers of this Veda Shastram. Now, Swadhyayaha Adhyetavyaha means you have to study your own Veda. This is the command of the Veda. Adhyetavyaha. This Tavya in Sanskrit is a very important word in Shastra. Tavya means you must do. It's not optional. Not optional. Tavya. Tavya makes the optional as non-optional. Okay, Tavya. So what is to be done? Swadhyayaha Adhyetavya. Swadhyayaha. Swasya Vedasya Adhyayanam Kuru. Study your Veda, because the Veda Vyasa divided the Vedas into 4, and then so that each of us can pursue our Veda. And so Swadhyayaha, Swadhyayaha. Swasya Vedasya Adhyayanam Kuru. And so that vidhi continue, vidhi means command, that command from the Veda is alive is very much live until my study is complete. Correct? Until my study is complete, that command applies to me. Correct? And so Swami says that command applies to me. And so until what? When will I say that command does not apply to me? I can say the command does not apply to me. Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vedanti. Yova Yetadaksharam Gargi Viditva. Until I know that Aksharam. Correct? Aham Brahmasmi. That Aksharam. Until I come to know that crystal clear, until it is crystal clear, that Vidhi applies to me. So those people who know that Jiveshvara Aikya Tattvam, okay, Atma Tattvam, those who have gained that Advaita Siddhihi, they are called Vedavit, Vedavidaha. Okay. Then what? Yadaksharam Vedavido Vadanti. Vishanti Yad Yatayaha. Yat Yatayaha Vishanti. Vishanti means enter. Entering. It's called Vish Dhatu. Enter. Okay. Yatayaha Vishanti. Who enter? Yatayaha. Yatayaha is a plural of Yati. Yati is the singular. Yati. You've heard the word Yati. And Yati. So Yati could be a sannyasi. Okay. Literal meaning is what? Yatnam. Yatna Shilaha Yati. One who is capable of putting effort, thinking through and saying what's the right thing, what is right, wrong. And Viveka is there. And so that person says, no, I must study, etc. And or I must be disciplined. In this case, discipline is talked about. And so that person is being talked about. Yatayaha, those people. And Vishanti, they enter. Yat Vishanti. That world which these yatis enter. That is a literal translation. That which the yatis enter. Now you have to fill up the blanks. What that is. Okay. He's going to say that. Tat will come later. See, at the last line, last quarter, Tat te padam sangrahena. Okay. Tat is coming. So let's leave it at that. Yad Yatayaha Vishanti. And these Yatayaha are further qualified. These disciplined people, these people with effort, they're Vitaragaha. Vitaragaha. That also we are familiar with that word. And so they are Vigataha Ragaha Yasmat Saha Vitaragaha. Te Vitaragaha. That is the way to break it up. And so it means what? It means the person from whom all the ragadveshas are gone is called a vitaraga. That's the literal meaning of that word. Means what? No longer that person is affected by ragadvesha. Being fulfilled or not fulfilled is immaterial to that person. Okay, that is unaffected by ragadvesha. And that person is a vitaraga. How did that person become a vitaraga? Well, that person understood that whatever I've been running after is going to only give me artha, it's going to give me kama, dharma also it will give me, but moksha, no chance. No chance. Chance is not there. It may give me better lives next janma. The minute you say better life next janma, that means you're accepting that you like to go to next janma. Then after that, final exam will be there in the next janma also. You have to come up with the same question. What do I want to do next? And you have to ask Brahmaji, what is the next? What options do I have? Counseling. We have to get some counseling. No, before getting a job, we go to counselor and we do that. So that kind of counseling we will have to get. And so that person who is not interested in dharma, artha, and kama, that person who is interested only in moksha is a vitaragaha. Then further. Yadichantaha brahmacharyam charanti. Charanti, another word, right? These are all verbs. Vadanti, Vishanti, Charanti. Correct? These are all verbs. Vadanti, we said speak. Veda Vidaha Vadanti. Then Yatayaha Vishanti, enter. That world into which they enter. Okay, that is the way of saying it here. And then Yadichantaha brahmacharyam charanti. Charanti. Char. Char is movement. Charanti, go towards, make effort and gain. Okay, that is the meaning of charanti. And practice. Okay. And who practice? Yad icchantaha. Icchantaha. Icchantaha is the subject of the sentence. Icchantaha. Desiring. People who are desiring something. Desiring something. And yat. Desiring what? Yat. That which I'm going to talk about. That is what they desire. He says. And Bhashyakara, Shankaracharya makes it a little precise. He says, Jnatum icchantaha. Yad jnatum icchantaha. Shankaracharya will not give up an opportunity here. And so, jnatum icchantaha. Desiring what? Desiring some object? That's all. Let's not get carried away. Shankaracharya says, Brahma, Yad is Brahma, obviously. So, Yad Brahma jnatum icchantaha. Gaining is not possible. Reaching is not possible because I am Brahma. Therefore, Jnatum, only thing possible is Jnatum icchantaha. Those who desire to know that. Yat means that. Correct? Those who desire to know that. Okay, that is. And then who are these people? Those who desire to know that, charanti. And what do? Charanti means what? Practice. Brahmacharyam. Brahmacharya. They practice brahmacharyam. So brahmacharya. The common understanding of brahmacharya is this ashrama visheshaha. Vachaspati says ashrama visheshaha. Means it's one of the 4 ashramas. Brahmachari is the first ashrama. That is vishesha. That is one way to understand it. But then one can become married, and then afterwards they grow. They may become vanaprastha. They may be not married also. After marriage, not married because they are separated, whatever. So that person, what do you call that person? And that person is studying the Shastram. That person is in this track. Many people call them also brahmachari. Brahmachari ji, we say that word. So brahmachari. Why is a brahmachari? Because he's single. That is a superficial understanding. Brahma means Veda. Brahmani charati iti brahmachari. That person's sole purpose in life is to understand Brahma. He is around Ishvara. Person is devoted to Ishvara and Brahma is the target. Brahma is the target. And target. Brahma is the target. There is a shloka. Pranavo dhanur grihitva sharo atma sharaha. So they are saying there is a bow and arrow. The bow is pranava, omkaraha. Okay. And then the arrow. What is the arrow? Arrow is atma. And then what is the lakshyam? Lakshyam is Brahma, it seems. It says use the bow of pranava, omkara mantra, and then use atma as the arrow. Means atma is atma. Use that as the arrow and then go aim at what? Aim at Brahma. Like that, it's going to come. Somewhere it's going to come. I don't know where. So that I was reminded of that. So that brahmacharyam charanti. Those people, those yadichantaha brahmacharyam charanti. And Shankaracharya, they won't leave a chance. Brahmacharyam charanti gurau, he says. Gurau. One word he uses. Gurau means gurukule. Gurukule. Don't say I'm going to sit in my room and Zoom and I'm going to study Shastram and all that. And then after Zoom class is over, then immediately start fighting with everybody else. No, I know what you all will do. No, Gurau, just to prevent all these problems, Gurukule. So they are quite clear about that. And so Puja Swami says, therefore, study, jhanam, japam, all these things we have to bring in today's life because Gurukula Vasa is going to be more and more difficult. Okay, so we can't take it literally. So we have to say, how can I convert my home into a Gurukula? What are the things I can do to change my lifestyle? That is the way to think here. And so, yeah, just eliminate things that are not required. And thinking about what people will say, people said this, that, all that, slowly let go. Let go. People will constantly say something or the other. And and so you can't worry about that. If you worry about that, we get finished after that. And so all these things, remove all these things, then the home will automatically become a gurukula. Let it have a guru and then take the guidance from a guru. Listen, Shravanam Kuru. That's it. Simple. Shravanam Kuru as much as possible. Okay. Do whatever duties I have to do. Do it properly. Do it properly. Don't ignore the duties. And then Shravanam Kuru, remaining time. And so that kind of Yadichantaha Brahmacharyam Charanti. Okay. So desiring which they follow a life of study and discipline. Okay. That is the meaning of final meaning of Brahmacharyam. Okay. And tatte padam sangrahena pravakshe. That yat, seeking, that which this yatayaha, they're all seeking, that yat, that padam, that satyam, that tattvam, sangrahena pravakshe. I am going to, pravaksha is a future tense. Okay. Pravakshe, aham pravakshe, atmanepadi. So I am going to tell you properly. I'm going to teach you. Pravakshe. Vakshyami, pravakshe. So atmanepadi. So I will tell you briefly. I will tell you briefly. Sangrahena, briefly. Tatte padam. Okay. And this is the Krishna borrowed this from Kathopanishad. From Kathopanishad. Sarve Vedaha yat padam amananti tapamsi sarvani cha yad vadanti yadichanto brahmacharyam charanti tatte padam sangrahena bravimi, he says there. Sangrahena bravimi. Here pravakshe he says. There Yamadharmaraja says bravimi. Sangrahena bravimi. I will tell you briefly. And then what is that brief answer? Om ityetat. Om. That answer is Om. That is what he says. Yamadharmaraja. Here briefly he is going to say, I think not right away. He's going to say in in a couple of shlokas later he's going to say that. Okay. So 13th shloka. So we have to wait a little. But he says Sangrahena Bravini. Only 2 shlokas he's going to talk about. He says, I won't bore you. I've already told you enough. And so I will tell you in a few brief shlokas. So Sangrahena Bravini. The first half also, Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti, also comes in this Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So Kathopanishad I quoted. Okay, I don't know the mantra number. You can look for that. Yadichanto Brahmacharyam Charanti. If you search for that in Google, you will get that mantra. Okay. Then Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 3.8.8. 3.8.8. So there he says Saho Vacha. Saha Ha Uvacha. Yajnavalkya told whom? Gargi. Yetadvai tadaksharaha. Yetadvai tadaksharaha. Gargi brahmanaha abhivadanti. That's what he says. So we refer to this mantra whenever we. So what does this tell you? And Krishna is quoting this Upanishad. What does it mean? What does it tell you? Huh? You can unmute yourself.
Upanishads were there before.
Upanishads were there before. That is one implication. Another implication.
Upanishad is the source.
Upanishad is the source. Okay. Another implication.
That is a source of knowledge.
Summary of Upanishads.
Huh?
Bhagavad Gita is the summary of Upanishads.
Okay, summary of Upanishad. Another thing is Krishna knows the Upanishads.
And Bhagavad Gita is called the 5th Upanishad, 5th Veda. Sorry.
That's okay. That's fine. Those are all implications. But
Same source.
I'm looking for this. Krishna knows the Upanishad. Krishna studied the Upanishad. Remember, he was there in a Gurukula. Which Gurukula he was there?
Sandipani.
Andipani.
Sandipani. What do you think he was doing? Not butter, all the butter work and all over. Okay. And it's all over. Yeah, Sandipani, he's studying Upanishads. And he's quoting. So that's what I was looking for. Okay. Let's translate this. I will tell you briefly. about that goal or about that end. I will tell you briefly about that end, comma, which does not decline, comma, about which the knowers of Veda or Vedas, about which the knowers of Vedas talk about which the knowers of the Vedas talk about, comma, which the renunciates, sannyasis, which the sannyasis free from desire, which the sannyasis free from desire enter. Many of these words will go under in quotes. Okay, I'm not telling you that. Renunciates free from desire enter. Sannyasis free from desire enter, comma, desiring. Vitaragaha free from desire. Then yadichantaha desiring. Okay, so desiring, comma, desiring which they follow a life of study and discipline, desiring which, comma, they follow a life of study and discipline. Shall I repeat it once again? Everybody got it? Okay, once again. So I will tell you briefly about that end or that goal, comma, which does not decline, comma, about which knowers of Vedas talk about, comma, which the sannyasis free from desire enter, comma, desiring which, comma, they follow a life of study and discipline. Brahmacharya, study and discipline. Good. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.